Welcome all to RGN, where all that is old is new again, and this is certainly the case with the release of X-Out Resurfaced. A modern remake of the classic 1989 underwater side-scrolling shooter, X-Out was originally developed for microcomputer platforms such as the Commodore 64 and Commodore Amiga. This revitalised version brings the intense submarine combat to modern-day platforms, offering nostalgic appeal and fresh excitement for new players. Set in the ocean's depth, X-Out Resurfaced challenges players to pilot customisable submarines against an alien invasion. The game retains its signature pre-mission shop system, allowing players to purchase and outfit their submarines with various weapons and equipment using in-game credits. But before we delve further into X-Out Resurfaced, let's wind back time and refresh our memories of the original X-Out games released by Rainbow Arts on the Commodore systems. The C64 version provides an impressive 8-bit rendition of the opening cutscenes. The in-game presentation is good. There is a decent amount of detail in the foreground graphics, but scrolling can feel a little choppy at times. The proportional sizing aspect of the display feels a little off, kind of as if there's too much room in the game world, as there is a bit of travel from top to bottom, as you find the surface level enemies are out of sight for a noticeable portion of the game. The in-game SID tune rendition is of top quality and quite catchy as you find yourself humming along as you play the game. Gameplay wise, things feel a little repetitive. Enemy behaviours and wave patterns are somewhat simplistic with limited variation, and the difference in weapon power feels less pronounced, giving the game a somewhat dull and hollow feel. The C64 version is also very generous with its allocation of in-game credits, making it relatively easy to complete once you get past the first level. The biggest drawback with the game is the loading wait times in between levels, which does disengage you from the overall game experience. Despite some misgivings, the C64 version of X-Out is a solid effort without being spectacular. I find it to hold up well against its modern day peers and is well worth a try out for those of you who have not experienced the game before. Naturally, the presentation of the Amiga version is always going to be superior to the C64 version. This looks and feels like a proper 16-bit title with its excellent use of richer colour palette, detailed sprites and smoother scrolling. The in-game soundtrack is amazing with its high-quality multi-channel music, filling the room with some great sounding compositions. The game's display sizing aspect is much better here, with a better defined game world that still feels spacious. Compared to the C64 version, there is more variation with the enemy wave patterns, and the game background is far more interesting. And more importantly, there are more elaborate weapon effects and explosions, with better visual feedback for power-ups. Despite all this, there is one major drawback with the Amiga version, and that is the very long loading wait times between levels, the length of which feels like a few seconds longer than the C64 wait time. Loading time aside, I thoroughly enjoy the Amiga version of X-Out. Everything feels well balanced, from overall game difficulty to smoothness of gameplay and the game world presentation. Excellent shooter. And now I'm ready to go back and try the PC Steam version of X-Out Resurfaced. So time for me to grab my brilliant looking Cyclone 2 game controller. The Cyclone 2 draws inspiration from Xbox controller's ergonomic design, featuring textured grips and a sturdy build that ensures comfort during extended gaming sessions. Seriously, this is one super comfortable controller. The Cyclone 2 comes in two colour variants, Phantom White and Shadow Black, both with semi-translucent finishes that reveal subtle internal components. The controller also boasts customisable RGB lighting, allowing users to personalise its appearance. The Cyclone 2 delivers precise input and features two programmable back buttons and adjustable trigger modes to cater for different gaming genres. Look, I don't need 20 minutes to tell you how good this controller is. The Cyclone 2 from GameSir is your definitive controller at one highly affordable price. Shield time is over, folks. Time to do some blasting. The PC version of X-Out Resurfaced contains enhanced pixel art with high-resolution sprites, dynamic lighting and particle effects, creating a visually engaging underwater environment. In fact, it's the only version of the three showcased in this video that provides an effective sense that you are actually underwater, as the two Commodore versions could easily be misconstrued as taking place in space if you didn't know the game backstory. X-Out Resurfaced is a highly polished visual presentation, but I'm not sure that the dynamic lighting really works that well, and it can feel a little distracting or overdone. Sound-wise, players can choose between the remastered soundtrack and the original composition, catering for both new players and those seeking a nostalgic audio experience. The in-game sound effects are effective in portraying the relative destruction taking place on the screen, and do make the more powerful weapons feel more pronounced. From a gameplay perspective, things remain challenging in the first level, with the difficulty curve laying off a bit thereafter once you're able to load up with the second or third submarine. There is variation within the enemy waves, but overall there is a sameness to them all, and to be honest, I can't help but feel that the developers missed an opportunity to do more than just a reskinned version of X-Out. The shop system in X-Out Resurfaced feels much easier to use, and thankfully there is no long wait times between the levels. X-Out Resurfaced also includes a couple of additional nice additions, such as a 2-player co-op mode for those of you lucky enough to have physical friends, and optional cheats for you to unlock and use. X-Out Resurfaced is a fun old school style shooter for your modern day gaming platform that is well worth the reasonable asking price for those of you who have not experienced the game before. But despite the issue with its loading time, I think I prefer playing the Amiga version of X-Out out of the 3 on offer here. And before you go thinking that this is nostalgia kicking in, I never owned or played an Amiga game before 2017. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, bye for now.